Hello everybody and welcome back to Learning at Home with Mrs. V. Alright, so today we are going to be talking about equivalent fractions and how we can use that in our practical everyday life. Now everybody likes to throw a party, so today we're going to talk about throwing a party with some Yoda soda. Alright, so we have Yoda right here to help us out. Okay, you are throwing a party and you need 5 liters of Yoda soda for every 12 guests. If you are expecting 36 guests, how many liters of Yoda soda do you need? Now, interestingly enough, I see ratio language for every. Now, I'm looking here to see if I have 2. I do not have the word 2 in there, but I do have for every. So that right there clues me into the fact that this is a ratio story problem. So the easiest way to do this problem would be to create a ratio table. And you know how I like ratio tables. All right, so I'm going to put the soda over on this side. And, well, let's go ahead and write Yoda soda, because you know how I like Star Wars. All right, and then on the other side, I'm going to write guests. So for the Yoda soda, I'm going to go back up and it says here 5 liters of Yoda soda, 5 liters. And this is for every, so that tells me right there, 5 liters to every 12 guests. All right, so now this time I write it with a colon. I could write it 5, remember I can write it 5 to 12, or I could write it 5 to 12. Okay, so there are different ways that I can write this. Just wanted to review that briefly. All right, so now I've got 5 liters to every 12 guests. So now I've got the number of guests. I'm expecting 36 guests, and I need to find out how many liters of Yoda soda I am going to have. So remember, I have to find the relationship in the numbers. So I have to find the relationship between 12 and 36. So I know right away I'm getting bigger. I'm going from 12 guests to 36 guests. And if I think about that, I know that 12 times 3 gives me 36. So what I do to one side, I've got to do to the other side. So I've got to do the same thing. So I've got to multiply 5 times 3. And that gives me 15 liters of Yoda soda. All right, so 15 liters of Yoda soda for every 36 guests. All right, so remember, you've got to find the relationship in the numbers, and I kind of like doing the ratio table. It just makes it easier for me to see. And then I could find that relationship. I found that relationship here, and I had to do the same thing on the other side in order to figure out how many liters of Yoda soda I need. Now, you also know how much I like writing out the answer to the question. So I'm going to come back up here and look at the question. How many liters of Yoda soda do you need? I need 15 liters of Yoda soda. All right, now the answer is complete. All right, now this next one is asked a little differently than the first one. Okay, so you're going to COSI. The sign at the door says $10 per 6 people. If there are 3 people in your group, how much will it be to get in? All right, so you've got this sign, and that's pretty cheap to get into COSI. Usually it's, oh, I don't know, maybe like $15 a person. Wow, I would go if it was only $10 for 6 people. Okay, so at the door, you see $10 per 6 people. So you've got the money and you've got number of people, or number of people in your party. All right, so what we have here is $10 per 6 people. And you know, I forgot to look to see if there is any language. Well, you know what? Per Per is also ratio language, and we haven't talked about that one. I'm glad this one was in here. So this is ratio language as well. So if you see to, for every, for each, per, those are all ratio words that we can figure as a clue that ratio is what we're going to use. So we've got $10 per 6 people. Now what if I only have 3 people? Now I notice up here my number was getting bigger, so I knew I was going to multiply. Here my number is getting smaller. If I multiply when it's getting bigger, what do I do when it's getting smaller? If you said divide, you are absolutely correct. So 6 divided by something. When I take 6 and put it in some groups, I have 3 in each group. So if I have 6, I put it in groups, and then I have 3 in each group. Aha, that's 2 groups. So I divide by 2 to get the 3. So over here on this side, I've got to do the same thing. I've got to divide by 2. So 10 divided by 2 gives me 5. $5 per 3 people. So go back up to my question. How much will it be to get in? In order to get in to COSI for 3 people, I need $5. All right, so here again, I had to look at my relationship between the number of people on the sign and the number of people in my party. And I saw that the number was getting smaller. So this time, instead of multiplying, I was dividing. I found the relationship between those numbers. It's divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 gives me the 3. So $10, divide that by 2, that gives me the $5 for the amount of money I will need to get into COSI. So today, starting on your Google Classroom, you will have problems that deal with equivalent ratios and also word problems. Now, in both of these word problems, we were dealing with equivalent ratios. 5 to 12 is equivalent to 15 to 36. I do the same thing to both numbers in order to get the next ratio. It's the same thing as equivalent fractions. Here, what it's just like is just like simplifying, because what we did was we divided on either side in order to get the equivalent ratio. So we started with 10 to 6, and then we went to 5 to 3. We divided by 2 to get the equivalent ratio. All right, so equivalent ratios this week, we're going to keep them up. If you don't want to do the table, you don't have to. It's just one way to organize your information. You could write it out, just the ratio, and then figure the relationship and go from there. All right, I want you to keep watching, keep thinking, always stay curious, and I'll see you next time.